Hi everyone, meteorologist Robert Spetta here with today's Western Pacific weather update. It is going into the 1st of August 2013. We've only had one typhoon thus far this season, and well, as we start off the second half of the season going into August, well, things are really starting to get active out here right now. We have Tropical Storm Jebi or Jolina just towards the west of the Philippines, a new area south of Guam here that really is quite promising to become the next named tropical system. Meanwhile, another low pressure area towards the east of the Philippines. There's just all sorts of convection flaring up out here in Southeast Asia. But first, let's talk about Tropical Storm Jebi or Jolina here. Winds currently about 65, gusting up to 93 kilometers per hour. Last update from the Japan Meteorological Agency placed pressure right around 996 HPA. For J-main upgrade a storm to a typhoon, you want pressure around 970, so it does have a quite a ways to go here, really, to intensify. Now, as far as the intensification with this in the Japan Meteorological Agency, it does expect it to possibly become a severe tropical storm before making landfall there into Hainan and then moving out there towards northern Vietnam by Saturday evening. Likely landfall in the southern China by Friday evening. Well, this is from the Japan Meteorological Agency. JTWC, what do they have on it? Well, a little bit weaker. They're actually still calling it Tropical Depression Jebi here. If we pull up their map, and Tropical Depression Jebi, winds 30, gusting up to 40 knots, moving off here towards the west. They currently hold about 271 kilometers, or excuse me, nautical miles south of Hong Kong, pushing off there towards the west. They do expect it to become a tropical storm as well, though. They're going to upgrade it with it. At this time, if we take a look at the satellite imagery, my opinion, it's a tropical storm. With some fairly decent circulation around it, it does have an abundant amount of outflow coming along the northern periphery and the southern periphery. Inflow, so much moisture with this. The center of circulation is quite broad, and actually in the last several frames here, it is somewhat exposed, so you don't have this really defined eye, and I don't think that's going to happen with the storm system. I think it's going to remain more of a monsoonal gyre type of system, which just means a big monsoonal flow around that center of circulation. The problem with these type of storm systems, though, they don't really intensify to these super typhoon status, but they do drop a heavy amount of rainfall. We're already seeing rain reports across the western Philippines. Schools closed into Manila going into Thursday. Really, rain reports up to about 100 millimeters in some areas. Some of the Spratlys out here, I saw reports about 140 millimeters of rainfall, and it does look like that's going to continue through Friday. As Jebi does continue off here on this northwesterly track, we can pull up the winds from GFS. It does show this broad area of circulation. The MSL, you can see that broad area of precipitation as well. Let's take a look at ECMWF. Now, ECMWF, just terrible recently and initializing storm systems, but within the next 24 to 48 hours, especially once you have a tropical system already organized, they are fairly accurate. And this is what they're expecting here, this large monsoonal circulation. Winds near that center of circulation, right around tropical storm strength winds. You're seeing here about 30 to 40 knots possibly gusting up there as it does continue to roll off there towards the west, eventually impacting Hainan. This is going into Friday evening, making landfall there. The max of the winds on the southern periphery and really the southeastern periphery. That is because it is feeding off that monsoonal flow. By this time, Friday afternoon to the evening, that's when you're finally going to see the rough weather start to calm down across the Philippines. But still, some instability can trigger up some thunderstorms. This is when you're going to start to see the heaviest precipitation out here towards Vietnam, into Laos, Cambodia. Let's take a look at the MSL the same time Friday afternoon. Pull that up really quick here, and those rains are really starting to wrap around this storm system. Hainan, you could see some showers here, about 1 to 200 millimeters, but just really broad circulation around. Furthermore, not just the rains, but the waves out here kicking up to about 2 to 4 meters. Showing this in feet, we're seeing some areas about 10 to 12 feet. Some regions getting even higher than that, about 15 to 16, as this does roll off there. Really, the worst of it's going to be here along the southern coast of China, including you there in Hong Kong, because there's that long fetch area, that southwest monsoon, the fetch area, the amount of time the winds travel over the water. So it built up much more waves in these regions right in here. You just want to stay out of the water. It's going to be some rough stuff, and you got a shipping traffic coming in and out of Hong Kong by the end of the work week. well, yeah. But that is all for right now on Tropical Storm Jebi or Jolina right now, everybody. This is the forecast now for what else is going on in the tropics. Let's run through the GFS model here. We did this yesterday, and well, once you start getting day in and day out of consecutive tropical analysis from these weather models, or at least tropical outputs, then you really start to keep your eye on it. As far as the southern Japanese islands, you see this area of lighter winds. Well, I know we've been getting a lot of reports people in Okinawa really need the rain. It doesn't look like that's going to happen. This is a high pressure here. It is dominating, and any tropical system coming through right now are going to actually stay down towards the south. So you're going to have to hope for some pop-up thunderstorms, some isolated ones at least. Take a look at this though. Jebi pushing off here towards the west. A new area south of Guam right now. You saw it on that satellite shown here from the NRL just towards the south of Guam. Really just a broad area of thunderstorms right now. Some rotation happening, so it's starting to initialize, at least at this time on the 1st. And then going into the 2nd and the 3rd, it really starts to get its act together, at least according to the GFS, which has been initializing and organizing storm systems actually quite decent recently, unlike the ECMWF. It really is picking up on storms. Typhoon Solik had picked that one up about a week and a half out. So GFS, though, expects a landfall here near Samar going into Saturday and Sunday, and then moving across Visayas. Good thing Albay province, all the power's back on there. I know you had that big budget power crisis event on Tuesday going into Wednesday. All sorts of chaos with that, and we were actually pretty worried if this was to push through that area, there would be a hard time warning people, especially with the power out. Good news, at least at this time, it does look like power's back on, but you're still going to be seeing a tropical storm come through very well likely, and actually most of the models are picking up on this event taking place, pushing across the Philippines there, and even bringing some high winds. Really is just the heavy rains across the Manila area. The problem with this, saturated ground. We've been watching Jebi or Jolina bring some heavy rains out here. It's going to be a very little time in between this storm system and the next one before that starts to push through, and that's going to drop some heavy rain. So that's going to be a major threat there. But then I'm pulling back out the picture because it's not over yet. Let's look ahead here into Monday and Tuesday. All right, so this next storm system, it's still going to roll off there towards the west, but take a look around the Marianas Islands. If you're out here in Guam, I know you don't get tropical systems too much, but there's a potential for a tropical storm with this pushing through there. And then, well, look at that, 2 storm systems, same time, one out here towards the west. This one starts to develop. Let's scroll ahead all the way to next Saturday. If you watched yesterday's update, a very similar output here, just around Taiwan. Possibly by next weekend, we could see a typhoon, a very large typhoon, there either in the northern Philippines, southern Japanese islands, or Taiwan. That is the long range, though. Thanks for watching that whole output on that. But remember, everybody, longer range means more inaccuracy. So we're going to continue to keep an eye on it. For now, sea surface temperatures well above 30 degrees out here. Plenty of moisture for further development. Plenty of moisture for our monsoonal gyre tropical storm Jebi to get some more act together. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, please post them down in the comment box below. The other thing is, if you're watching us on YouTube, check the webpage, of course, but follow us on Facebook and Twitter. That is where we put a lot of our information out throughout the day. Thanks for watching, everybody.